Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon. I hope you can see me okay, hear me alright. Put it in the chat and let me know. Hey everyone. So today is Friday, the 25th of October. It is towards the end of the month. And in today's session, what we'll be looking at is how the Aussie and the Kiwi is approaching a 4 week low as it continues its slide to the downside. Tonight, we do have Canadian retail sales number and core retail sales number to be released. We'll talk about that as well. And we have to talk about gold, right? Gold came off the top, it's sitting right across in the middle, a little bit of upside, a little bit of downside potential, but we'll look into that and all the other major currency pairs as well. So, with all that said, first things first. All right, here we go. I think we're all streaming good. Super. All right. If you're on the session, do remember to drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. If you're new to the session, particularly, let me know, say hi. Hey, Magas from Ethiopia, hope you're still on the session. How you doing? Mohammed, good to see you with us. Let me see. Okay, and what's I gonna say? Remember, if you can help me out massively, do remember to click on that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, any point in time, put it into the chat and let me know. If you haven't already, get onto the mailing list. It's in the description down there. I'll send you my ebook for trading psychology on that. Hey Tam XAU, how are you doing? Hope you're doing super. Good morning. I'm my energy level. It's about there. It's about there. So bear with me for today. Um, I was I was up. I slept and I woke up at 11 p.m. I woke up at 11 p.m. and I've been up all the way since then. Did some work, did some trades, some really small trades. Um, Watched Manchester United draw again against Fibonacci. Not Fibonacci. I was going to say Fibonacci. Um, some other Turkish team. I forgot the name right now. Sounds like Fibonacci. Fenerbahce. That's the one. So watch the football. Um, it wasn't super exciting. Went off to the gym and back in the office. So I've been up since yeah, Fibonacci. I keep thinking of Fibonacci. I've been up since 11 p.m. and it's 3 p.m. Oh yeah, I've been up since 11 p.m. and it's 3 p.m. right now. I'm absolutely, and it's going to be a long day, long night after this as well. So we'll look into it. We'll look into the charts. We'll look into the news. We'll look into the charts. If you have any, if you have any questions, put into the chat. Let me know. Um, I think there are still some opportunities, but we're heading towards the end of the week, or we're at the end of the week, and then next week is end of the month. So it's gonna get a little bit dicey. Just I'm in capital and profit preservation mode right now, so might be a bit less risk taking, a bit more risk adverse, right? Um, what trades did you guys get into? Put in chat and let me know. Um, Tam, I was laughing just then because Tam XAU said you should go back to bed after this live stream. No, I've got so much more stuff to do. Oh, and those of you who are on the Elite Navigator membership, if you are completely new to trading, there is a quick video there about how to get started in trading. It's not the usual um, information, or it's some information that's standard, but then it's a bit of a different approach and a shortcut, cutting everything short and sharp, get to the key points kind of video on how to get started in trading FX. Right, so you can check that out if you're an elite navigator. If you're not an elite navigator, then it gets released to you later on. I can't remember when I've scheduled it to get released to everyone else. Um, Diana's saying that never thought much about Ten Hag as a good coach. He is actually. I mean, sorry, I'm gonna just to keep me awake. He is actually. I feel like he's a good coach. I feel like he's a good coach. I just feel like the team is thinking too much, right? They're 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 not going with the flow. There's no flow in the game. Um, they're probably not used to what he wants, or they're not or trying to find a new approach like trading, right? They're looking at the markets and they're overthinking everything. They're looking at every little movement, every little um, thing that could happen, and then they get a bit jittery and stuttery. Compared to if you are familiar with a trading strategy or very familiar with a trading strategy, then and experience a bit more experience with what you want to do, then you just be looking at charts and go, oh right, it's done this, I want to do this next. It's done that, I want to do that next. If this happens, I'll do that. So a bit more flow. So I kind of relate that back to how I see them playing, how Man United is playing. Feels like they're thinking too much. It feels like it's just being a bit forced. People don't know where everyone is. So it is hard to watch them now, particularly over the last 10 years as well. Hopefully, any other Man United fans out there, we feel the pain, right? Um, Tam's saying I've been in a buy on the euro, okay, since Wednesday, but wondering if I should hold or close. I actually think you be might might be a good time to close if you've been buying it up. Um, I did a quick scalp on the euro to the downside scalp, so it's tiny. So I'm actually thinking that we might actually see it come back down. I'll tell you more about that shortly. Um, yeah, so maybe it's a good time to close. Hey Jimmy, how are you doing? Good afternoon. How are you doing? Hey Richard, good morning. Good to see you. Um, Watching Man United is so stressful. It is. It's not stressful. It's just boring right now. It's just hard, hard work watching them. Um, Good, happy Friday, French Fry Friday. Angel Case, how you doing? Good to see you. It's delightful to watch Man City. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, that's true. That's so true. You guys saw that when I was in Dubai at the expo. I was at the XC Trader booth where because XC sponsors Man City, so they had the whole trophy there. They had the Man City people there. That's the closest any Man United fans can get to the trophy for now, unfortunately. Okay, enough rambling and talking and hoping that Man United will play better. We can only hope. Let's look into the news and see what has happened since the last time we spoke. All right. So we did all the PMI numbers that we looked at yesterday. After the session, we had the UK manufacturing and services PMI that came out slightly worse than expected. And then before, manufacturing PMI for the UK was 51.5, expected to stay at 51.5, got released at 50.3. While services PMI was um, 52.8, got revised down to 52.4. Expected a 52.3, came out at a 51.8. Saw a little bit of a downside on the pound, but nothing too crazy. All the way through to at night, where we saw the US PMI numbers stay relatively flat, um, without many big changes there, right? Um, then, what we actually did see last night was that, right? This is where we were last night. We saw a bit, it was consolidating just along that 38.2 level and that trend line. But later in the night, we saw it break. We saw the dollar break down towards that 50% level, towards 104, and then it's just been sitting right across at that point. That's what's happened so far. With today, right? With today, we don't have that much to look forward to. Only the retail sales number to come for the Canadians, which at the start of the month, at the start of the week, I thought that it would be quite a good number for the Canadians. But now again, looking at it more closely, retail sales number looking to go from a zero point 0.9 to a zero point 0.5. A bit of a slowdown in retail sales, while core retail sales looking like a small slowdown from 0.4 to 0.3. And this is all on the back of um, the Bank of Canada cutting rates, right? I'm not going to. It's not that the rate cut has affected the retail sales number, because this retail sales number is for the month before, right? Before this rate cut decision. But you can see the reason why they're probably cutting rates is to try and pump a bit more money into the markets to try and stimulate it a little bit more. They've won the fight again. They're winning the fight against inflation, so they want to try and push a bit more money back into the markets so that hopefully retail sales numbers and economic activity could take a little bit of a jump to the upside. So that's something to look out for on the Canadian front. The loonie, the US CAD, is still forming up at that very key level. I'll show it to you shortly as well. Okay, so we'll look into that. Monetary policy report hearings for the UK for the MPC committee. That typically does have a big impact, but not so much this time, and also because it's a bit tentative in terms of the timing. I thought they were gonna have it this couple of days ago. Yeah, I thought it was gonna have it a couple of days ago, but it looks like it's gonna happen today. It might happen today. Um, when I look at this, when I look at this monetary policy report hearings, it just makes me miss Mark, uh, Bank of England Governor Mark Carney. He was I loved it. He was the best, in my view, the best central banker for one of the best central bankers for especially for the UK. Right, he could talk up the pound, he could talk down the pound, without any taking any particular actions. So that makes me miss, listening to Mark Carney during one of those hearings. But I don't think this time around it's going to do too much. Okay. Hey, Bill. Good day. How you doing? Good to see you. Now, with today being Friday, we'll look into next week. Right, we'll look into next week and what could happen. 27th of October, we have elections, lower house elections for that's on Sunday for Japan, right? Where was it? Yeah, okay. So next week is going to be interesting. Next week is going to be, I think, quite massive because we have on Monday not too much, Tuesday it's a bit of a breather, but we have JLTS jobs openings. On Wednesday we have CPI numbers for the Aussies. That's going to be important with their interest rate decision still on the balance. We have ADP non-farm employment change numbers for the US with the advanced GDP on Wednesday as well. And then with all that, we have on Thursday at the end of the month, the BOJ making another decision. Are they going to make a change? We'll look into that. Um, then GDP, core PCE price index for the US, and then ending the week next week with a non-farm employment change number. It was 254. It's expected 131. It's going to be interesting if it does drop that much. If it does drop that much, it's going to bring about this whole it's going to bring about this whole issue of the interest rate decision again, right? Because we were bordering on, it was like 9.6%, 8.2% chance that they could keep rates on hold. Now it's down to a 4.5 with a high likelihood that on the 7th of November, 2 weeks away, they're going to cut rates by 25 basis points. So, I got rid of that. Okay, so the non-farm employment change number on 1st of November could be a major factor leading up to that rate decision from the FOMC. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. So now let's look at the charts. Here we go. Dollar index. All right. Hey Brian, how you doing? And I just remembered, well, not just remembered, but today I remember, this morning I remembered that I didn't post up yesterday's summary, which is this one. I'm not going to post it up now because it wouldn't make sense to do that. But I didn't post that up, so you know, you it's not there. But again, big reminder to everyone. Yeah, a big reminder to everyone is that as you read, as you go through this summary, do remember to click on that little rocket ship button as well. Um, I don't know, gets more people reading that as well. Okay. Yes, thanks for that, Noah Chuku. Don't A big reminder to everyone, don't forget to smash that like button. Okay. Now, let me see, what am I doing? There. Okay. Dollar index. Yesterday we talked about it coming down to this point, and it broke through that. Then we talked about it at 38.2 or that 104.10 level to bounce off that trend line back up. It didn't do that either. What it did do was it came all the way down to that 50% at 104 round number. Okay, so we take those away. Put that one up there. Okay. So it came all the way down to this 104 level, broke that trend line. I'll keep that trend line there. I'll keep that there just as a bit of a reference. So it broke the trend line. It's set in consolidation now, or sitting in consolidation now, just along that 104 price level for the dollar index. Now, at this point here, today being the 25th of October, what I'm looking for is that the dollar could come down and bounce here. Dollar could consolidate, come down, and bounce back up. That's what I'm thinking. All right. But as we look into this, there's no major news for today for the dollar in particular. All right. So as that pushes down, I think that we could see it come down and test this point here. Okay. So now dollar index is consolidating along 104 round number and also the 50% fib retracement level, right? 61.8 is right down here. What I'm anticipating is that we could see it break down to 103.85 and maybe see it bounce back up. That does that, it would come back up. I don't think it would do that though. Okay, I think it's going to be a little bit more subdued and it could push down. As it pushes down, it could sit right there. So along that point, could trade down to 103.85, which is that price level. Let's put it there. Okay. So I think that it's gonna sit there and might push down, and then it could range in between here, but I think that it might just come down and sit at this level. This was where we've been since Friday or start of Friday. It's been bouncing along here. Could come down, test. I think this is what could happen. So you do that, you break that, and then you just do that kind of level. Okay, so that's what I'm be looking out for on the dollar, which means that we're looking at a little bit of weakness on the dollar index. A little bit of weakness on the dollar index. I don't think it will be massive. Um, why I'm hesitating, what I'm thinking of is whether it could bounce back up. Any big reason why it would bounce back up? No, I don't see any major reasons. And I'm just thinking as well that, right, where were we? This week, we started on the 21st. So if you think about it, we were there. We started the week here. It's pushed up all the way. It's come back down to 50. So it might just end the week sitting along that 104 level. It's just, retraced half of the week's move and it's just going to sit there. So I'm quite happy with that now, thinking about it. I don't think we're going to see the dollar being too crazy unless, of course, somebody comes out and says something ridiculous about the interest rate cut decision. Okay, so now with that said, then we'll look at the Kiwi dollar. All right, so Kiwi, I was yesterday expecting it to push up before coming back down. That was a little bit too ambitious. What it did, I added in this trend line, right, from the whole move down. We see this trend line, what it did yesterday, right there, right? It came up, formed a bit of a resistance here along that trend line, and then pushed down through the night, came back up, and then pushed down through this morning. Did a quick scalp here, very small but quick scalp here on the Kiwi. Now and I shared with you guys that on the on Discord as well. Now, as what you want to notice here is that, right, it's forming that. So I think that it's going to bounce, dollar index with that little bit of weakness. We might see this bounce along here with that trend line pushing down that way, and then that doing that. So we might see it bounce along here, forming that triangle, and then I'll be looking for it to break down, which means that we'll be looking at something below this 0.6 level, which is consolidating at 5985. Stop loss would be 20 at a maximum. Take profit, you have that, and you have that down here. Let me see. That one's fair. That one's fair. Okay. So what I might actually do is I'll think about it this way instead. Because it's going to come down, this is 5985, this is 5975, it's 10 pips difference. I think it'd be safer to go look at it at 5970. Then your stop loss would be 20 pips, your take profit will go down to about 55 to the downside. So let it break, have that bit of confirmation, let it break below that previous swing level as well. So we'll be looking at 5970, 20 to 55 to the downside. Okay. Kiwi, we'll be looking at sell 0.5970, stop loss 20, take profit 55 to the downside. And then on to the Aussie. All right, Aussie pushed up. This was where we were here. It pushed up, it set right across, and then it pushed back down again. So that didn't trigger, take that away. That didn't push as much as we expected. Trend line is still there, and you can see a very similar pattern with the Aussie and Kiwi, finding a bit of a horizontal base, finding that trend line. What I'm anticipating again at this point, you see that TSRI MACD trying to cross back up. So we might actually see it sit there, do that, to that. I know I'm exaggerating it a little bit. And then go to the downside. Maybe form a bit of that head and shoulder break, that 6620 level, and push down. So with that, we'll see that 6610, 20 to 40 to the downside. Why I hesitated is because I'm expecting, or I'm anticipating dollar weakness, right? I'm anticipating some dollar weakness. So it's a bit odd, a bit off-putting to think of the Aussie dollar heading lower because we're thinking of dollar weakness, right? But I think that that big downward trend, and we talked about this at the start, has been dropping for like good 4 weeks, right? Since the start of October, it's pushing all the way down. I think that it would be the wiser decision is to look for that downside. So you could look for it to test and break. Maybe you look at, I wouldn't do 1.5. I'll do 1.0. I'll still do 1.0, 20 to 40 to the downside. Okay. 6610. 10, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Okay. Now, any questions so far? Put into the chat and let me know if you have any questions, any queries. Let me know. Then I'm thinking, I'm just looking at the Aussie. I'm thinking whether it's worth thinking or worth considering a buying opportunity back up. Could it find that base and buy up? That's what I'm kind of thinking now. So let's find that, and then if it breaks to push up, I think that while that's possible, it's probably not the best thing to do at this point. Okay, so is there an upside potential to 6690? Yes, you could look for it to break above that trend line to trade up, but I think that any upward move could be choppy and very quick, short lived. I mean, right? So I'd rather look for it to break to the downside. Okay, we'll leave that as it is. Then we'll look at the pound dollar first. All right, so pound dollar yesterday, we're looking for it to come up, test that resistance, reject, and push back down. Take that away first. It pushed up above that trend line and it's sitting right across. Right, it's sitting right across now. It does look like there is that want, the price action, the price movement. You see that crossing over. It does show like it wants to push up a little bit more. I would still keep that view where I'll look for the pound dollar to push up and then I'll look for it to turn back down. I wouldn't be looking to buy it up just because of that big downward trend that we all know. So we're looking at that. So break out of this, test 1.3 and reject. I'll be looking at below 1.3. Stop loss would be about 25. Take profit will be a good 90 pips to the downside. Okay. 1.30, stop loss 25, take profit 90. What it looks like in terms of the current price action is that we might see this push back up that way. So it'll push down where we see prices retracing, bounce around there, and then dollar gains some strength back, and that's why we see it go up, test this area, and then turn back down. Because I don't see it climbing right back up again, especially with no major news today. All right, so that's the pound dollar. Test, reject, yes, okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, then on to the euro. TAM XAU was saying that it's on a buy since Wednesday, which is there, buying it up. Right, this is what I was looking for it to test and reject. And that's why I was thinking that we could see it push back down, with that crossover to push lower on that big downward move. If it holds this level, we could see it push down. Right now, again, like all the other pairs, it shows that because of the dollar weakness here, it shows that we're going to see some push back up. Looks like crossover as well. Now, because TAM XAU was saying, and just said, I feel like it could get to 1.085. but hard to say right now. 1.085. Yeah. I think that what the decision point of whether to hold on to, if you've been buying it up since Wednesday, or at any point you've been riding this to the upside, the decision point of what to do is how it reacts to this level here at 1.0840, right? Because if it does break above this point, I don't think it would stop at 1.0850. I think that if it does break above that point, we could see it trade right up. See, because this level here, this area, for this short term move, man, you make me laugh. Um, for this short term move, we're right at about that 61.8 level. Right, we're right at this 61.8 level. So that decision point is here. If it does break above this 1.0840, then we're very likely to see not gold, euro continue to push up to 1.0870, which is the level that we saw on the 21st of October, or the start of this week. Right? Totally reversing the move from this week. Why I laugh and why I chuckled is that um, Tam just said, call me crazy, but I see 1.12 before the end of the year. 1.12 is right back up there. This was September's level. Not impossible, not impossible. In fact, it went from August to end of August. In a month, it went back up all the way to 1.12. So it's not impossible, but I feel like economic situations and conditions are different right now. I would love for it to do that so that I can trade it up, but we'll see. Okay. Diana says order flow change. If it breaks that level, means EU becomes bullish. Yes. All right. So that level becomes very important. If it breaks up, if it doesn't, then we're going to see it turn back down. The main thing here is watching 1.0840. So on to the euro. Oh, we said that already, right? Looking for reaction or rejection. Just looking for reaction around 1.0840. No worries, Tam. That's why I'm here, sharing insights. Might not always be right, but it's just another perspective, right? Um, Now, that's fine. I wouldn't, I wouldn't do anything yet at this point. We're going to see what happens at that 1.0840. Diana saying technically it is the last leg which drove the euro down. So to go bullish, need to see the change in order flow. Yep. Yep. I agree with that. In fact, um, if it does break above 1.0840, I'll tell you, for me, okay, I'll tell you the thought process of this is, if it pushes up and it breaks in this area here, I still wouldn't be buying it up. I'll be like, okay, now at this point, like Diana says, that's where I start thinking that euro has legs, could have legs to push up. I'll only really get interested in buying if it breaks above this 1.0880 level, right? So this is where I get interested. I get thinking that the euro could push higher. Only when it gets above 1.0880, then I start thinking of buying it up, right? So I like to look for it to break a couple of levels first before I get into a big counter trend move. All right. All MAs have crossed over bullish on H1, H4 timeframes, and H4 high was broken. Yeah, I like to wait. I'll take the middle move. I'm terrible, or not terrible, but I don't like catching the bottoms or right at the tops. I take the middles. I just feel it's a little bit safer that way. All right. Now with that, then we look at the yen. All right, we look at the yen. I'll tell you that this morning, right at about um there, as it sat along, I'll move that to the side first. In fact, I'll take that away. As it came down and then it sat along here the whole night and early morning. And this morning, when I came in and I saw that red candle, I'll zoom in a bit. I saw this one being a big red, well, at that time, a big red candle. I was actually thinking the yen could break this level. I saw this candle being big and red, right? I thought that the yen could break this level, and if it does break this 38.2, we could see a big push to the downside. Um, then it sat there, it came back up, it sat there, it sat there, it sat there. Um, Again at 1 o'clock, I thought, oh, it's gonna break now. It formed that pin bar, it pushed right back up, and it's still sitting there. So that level, oh no wait, so that 151.60 level is holding quite strong. That 38.2 is holding quite strong. So yesterday we talked about this coming down, finding that level to push back up. I still think that that's valid. um, I would be looking for it to do above 152.20. Your take profit will be about 100 pips. Your stop loss shouldn't be down here, right? Even at 50, I think it's a little bit too much. I want that round number level. So I think that even if you did a 40 pip, that would be reasonable. All right, so that's what I'll be looking for on gold. Not. I keep saying gold. I'm thinking of gold all the time. Um, the funny thing, my name Jin in Chinese means gold. Um, Jin Dao, Dao in Chinese means path. So it's the golden path. That's why I keep thinking about gold. Um, too many sidetracks today. Now with that, so 152.20, 40 to 100. Let's do that. 152.20, 40 to 100. Yes, I can for sure look at silver diner, no worries. Okay. I'm obsessed with gold. Okay, now onto the euro yen. Still holding that same thought. It's set in that consolidation, needs to break to the upside. 165.15. I think that I'm just thinking whether it can go a little bit lower. No, I want it to break that 165. At the best you can do is 165.10 there. 40 to 120 to the upside. We'll keep that one. Thank you, Angel Case. Very precious name. All names are precious. Come on. I might actually be quite keen on the euro yen back up. Well, not back up, to continue higher. Consolidate break, consolidate break. I think that could be quite a nice one on the euro yen. So something to watch out for quite closely. Then onto the pound yen. It came close, it came right back down again. It's trying right now. Mm, big move. Don't need that big move actually. If I took this move up, 23 is right there. And that's why from this bottom up, it's found a little bit of a 23 there. Don't need. Oh, and then we have that big move down. So 61 is that dotted line. That makes a lot more sense. That's why I had that dotted line. So it broke that 61, came back in. It's in this range. I think that you still could trade this. I'll still keep this view then. 197.70, 197.70, 40 to 120 to the upside that way. Okay. And then now with that, we look at Swiss franc, CAD, and gold. Finally, we got to it. And then we look at silver as well. All right. So US Swiss franc, it's getting annoying. It's sitting around there. It's pushing up. It's consolidating. It's consolidating. It looks like it's trying to push up. Dollar is still sitting right across. I don't think there's any big moves here again on the US Swiss franc. And if even if I had this trend line, even if I adjusted this trend line to this, I actually don't need that trend line. What I'm only looking at is how it's pushed up and it's set across. The thing is, the thing that annoys me, or rather makes me hesitate on the US Swiss franc is all that tails and shadows, right? Because of all the tails and shadows, it makes it to the point where I don't think you should be buying there because there's a little bit of a tail and shadow there. Then I don't think you should be buying there because of the tail and shadow there. And then there's not a lot of upside until the next interim level. So I feel like, that's just a bit too choppy right across. So I wouldn't do it. I will still stay flat on the US Swiss franc and do nothing on that. Then onto the US CAD. This is where this one again. Remember tonight we have retail sales number to come from the Canadians, right? Um, and it doesn't look like it's going to be good numbers. 0.4 to 0.3 on core retail sales, 0.9 to 0.5 on retail sales number. Remember, retail sales number is a consumer spending data. Consumer spending is a GDP, is a contributor to the GDP. So if we're going to see retail sales number slow down, then we're likely to see GDP slow down, which means economic activity slowing down. So with that, if it's a bad, or if it's a not bad, but if it's a not so good number, I'm still looking for that push back down. But take all of that away, what I'm thinking here is that we might see this sit along this level and bounce, right? Because of that weakness, we might see it bounce or might see it come back down here and bounce. What I'm looking for is that back up again. Um, Diana's looking to sell on the US CAD. I think that there is some I am okay in the medium term, I think that there is that I'll show it to you again. We've been talking about this the whole week, right? In this whole area, I'm looking to sell. I'm looking for that rejection. H4, you can see it, right? Right across and right across some more. It comes up to this 1.3850 to 1.39 20 level. We've seen it reject in October 2022. We've seen it reject in March 23. We've seen it reject in October 23. October sounds like it's repeated twice already. April 24, August 24, and now we're right up there again. So yes, medium term, looking for that big push down, but short term, I think that if the retail sales number comes out at that 0.5 and at 0.3 or lower, then we're going to see that weakness on the Canadian dollar, which could push it back up. Naren's saying CIBC or an RBC expecting 50 basis point rate cut from BOC in December. Yes, I think that the last statement they were talking about possibly more rate cuts to come. So I think that's anticipated. US CAD was a monster this past week, straight up. Yes, to sell. I need to make sure the order flow change. Yes. I think that we want to see, I think because it's climbed up so much, we possibly want to see it really test this area before pushing back down. Okay, so I think that it would be interesting if it does push and we find 1.3825. Stop loss 15, take profit 30 to the upside, 40 to the upside, and possibly even more back up. All right, so for now to the news, I'm looking for it to come back down. News comes out, hopefully bad retail sales number, push it right back up. I want to see it test this area properly and then turn back down. Okay, so 1.3825, 15 to 40. Looking for bounce, retail sales data pending. We're looking to buy at 1.3825, 15 to 40. 0.3825, stop loss 15, take profit 40 to the upside. Then onto gold. I've talked about gold so much. We're finally looking at gold. And the funny thing is, to be honest, I wasn't super obsessed with it. I just don't know why I kept saying gold. Because I'm totally flat. I've got no more positions on gold at this point because it's pushed all the way up. Then it sat there. Well, let me show you. I did some updates on the lines. It's pushed up. We have a 50% level, which is very far away. 2683, right? The most recent drop on Wednesday, you can see that as much as I found that point, it's in that area of that 38.2 as well. Then when you zoom in on it, that moved down, right? That moved down. It's come back up to 61.8 and it's held. So it's sitting right across. Now, Okay, it's sitting right across now. I was saying this on Discord is that it's too that trend uptrend is too strong, or had been too strong, that I could sell, but I'll be scalping. But I'll be very careful to try and sell it down. And as much as I would like to buy it up, I feel like that drop, and then that hesitation at that drop, and then that drop has made it a little bit heavy, my own terms, right? Heavy to buy it back up. So I feel like it's just sitting in this range. For now, I'm totally neutral on gold. I'm just gonna wait and see. So it looks like it's gonna fluctuate between 2700 at the very extreme and 2740. Okay. Um, likely to, well, not consolidate, to fluctuate between 2700 and 2740 while directional bias develops. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. It says I feel like it's just going to bounce around in this area here, like kind of like that. Okay. If you looked at that one as well, probably notice that it's at that 50% level. So it's just in that range. Okay, then so nothing too exciting on gold there. Then on to silver. It's just done. Well, we did that. It broke up. We did that well. Then it's come back down. You notice that pushing a little bit lower. That's pushing down. Might actually be seeing some downside again. Again. This had that big push to the upside. So while we could see some downside, it's going to be that kind of position where you don't want to be selling into that big drop. Um, I can't remember now. So Dinah just asked if gold is weak, silver should go up. I did a big study on that a long time ago. Um, they generally should be correlated in only some circumstance where they break that correlation. But right now, I just can't remember what is it. But I would approach them as generally more correlated. Just that gold would be likely to have more volatility. Yeah. Okay. Let me try and find that study that I did, and I'll share that. But it's been a super long time. Might have to redo it again. Might be easier to redo it than to try and find it. So on silver, I think that we might just see it come down to that 32.5 level or 32.6 level. All right. Okay. So now, with all that said, please remember, if you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. That would help massively. And also the mailing list, if you haven't, to click on that, join us on the mailing list. And if everything else, if you don't have any trades, please remember, have a super weekend, have a fantastic weekend, enjoy your weekend. I'll see you all on Monday next week. But for those of you who are on Discord, I'm still on Discord, I'm still chatting away with you guys. Please trade well, trade safe, Take care now. Bye bye.